Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today's topic I would like to speak to you on is the gravitational singularity and the black hole sun event. What happens when the moon machine shuts down? So if you're just joining me now, I would highly recommend you going back to watch the two videos that I posted on my page entitled The Moon Machine, which is a machine that was revealed to me in a dream in the form of a diagram on what the machine within the moon looks like as the Saturn moon matrix. In this video, I explain how the moon is basically a machine that uses our frequency, recycles our energy, and reincarnates us through this particular machine and also projects outwardly the reality that we exist in. In the last video, in the explanation of how the moon machine works, basically this is a machine that is comprised of 12 gates of light that siphon our energy into the machine or our frequency into the machine, and it also projects the reality in which we live, the zodiac signs, the sigils, the 12-dimensional, which is actually 1 + 2 = 3, 3D dimensional reality that we live in, by creating a sound resonance that shapes all of existence. So if you have not watched that video, in order for you to have full context of what it is that I am explaining today, I highly recommend you go back and watch those two clips so you can get a full understanding of the topic that I'm about to present today, because this is extremely important. I strongly feel that the moon machine itself, being the thing that holds all of reality together, is pretty much like the wizard behind the curtain in the movie The Wizard of Oz. So basically it's revealing that all of reality is held together by a machine, and the curtain has been pulled back, and this is the veil drop that we've been waiting for, to understand how everything functions and how we are held together or trapped within the third dimensional reality by this moon machine. So in order to frame our conversation today properly, I'm going to start by pointing you in the direction of the book of Revelations 6:12 within the Bible, so we can break down each part of this and how it relates to what is going to happen after the moon machine shuts down. Now, for context, the book of Revelation 6 is talking about the seals being opened. And I do have a detailed diagram on my page that kind of lays that out and explains, which I will plug in here for you to see. Please take a screenshot so you can understand exactly what these seals represent, who is behind the seals, and how this is all going to work. In the book of Revelation 6 verses 12, it says, "And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every freeman hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath is come. Who shall be able to stand?" So in looking at my diagram, you can pretty much piece together the fact that Pinta, or this middle fifth seal, represents this divine feminine woman. And if you've been following along with any of the diagrams that I put up, the fifth seal is representative of this woman who is one of the twin witnesses, as I broke down in my last video on the woman in Revelation 12 being one of the two witnesses, or the divine feminine polarity of the two witnesses. Now, as you can see in this particular diagram, the sixth seal is activated by the sixth seal, or the Star of David, going into the fifth seal, which is the Vesica Pisces, which represents the woman or the womb, basically. And as I spoke of in my last video about the woman in Revelation 12, giving birth to a son that pretty much disrupts the resonance frequency, because there's a set number and we don't have much wiggle room to change any of the things in our life path. She gives birth to a son, and that disrupts the moon. I strongly believe that these two witnesses, being the last living bloodline descendants of a particular lineage or Christ's bloodline lineage, are kind of like the custodians of the planet. Pretty much they have the power within their magnetic pull to override the system and act as sort of like janitors with keys to basically unlock the shutting down of the moon matrix, so that we can go into the reset part, or the reset phase of this reality, which is shutting down the moon matrix resonance, helping us to escape the third dimensional reality, and now forming into the new fifth dimensional reality, which I will get into what that's going to look like and explain more about how that will actually work and unfold as we go along. So as you can see on the diagram, using sacred geometry, basically the sixth seal entering the fifth seal, and pretty much these two witnesses, you have 6 and 5, which equals 11, which the two polarities are 11 in all of my diagrams. Basically, when these two meet and they give birth to this baby, that is what sets forth the events that are going to unfold, which is the moon machine shutting down and everything else that happens after that, which we're about to get into, as I just read within the book of Revelation 6 verses 12, once the sixth seal has been opened. In this scripture, it says that the moon became as blood. Now, blood is associated with the color red. Why would the moon turn red? if the moon contains a machine, and as some people theorize, it's actually hollow, and also theorize that it's actually made of metal or some kind of very hollow kind of steel or metal material, then it makes perfect sense that when the moon turns as red or red, if the machine has overloaded because we have changed and awakened and changed the resonant frequency in order for us to escape this third dimensional reality, that the machine actually is getting ready to shut down because it has overheated. And what happens when something in technology overheats? It turns red, or it catches on fire, or it burns up, which would explain why the moon would then start to reflect red, because the moon machine has blown up, or it has overheated, or has overloaded, and now getting ready to hit the reset button. So in my theory, once the moon machine is shut down, this is what happens in Revelation 6:12. This is the sixth seal that is open. So it's saying that there will be a great earthquake. You have to pay attention right now to what's happening on Earth in our current solar maximum. And a lot of signs are surrounding the fact that we are already on the path to this great reset. Earthquakes are increasing exponentially right now on Earth, and they're headed to a point where we're getting them on much larger scales and much more frequency than ever before. Do your own research and just dig through Google and ask the question about how many earthquakes per year, and you will understand that in this current solar maximum, we are at an astronomical level of earthquakes that are happening and increasing on a steady basis. I think right now we're between the 4 and 5 mark in terms of how powerful earthquakes are coming in this moment.